Hey guys, my name's Jay Black. I'm a comedian. I'm joined, as always, by my partner, Bill Ridgway. We were talking before the show as to how to introduce him. And I think for today's episode, the best way to introduce you is personal trainer and body-obsessed narcissist, William Ridgway.
Excellent.
This show is called Nerdstalgia. What we do is we take a look at something that we enjoyed from our youth, and we try to decide whether or not it belongs in our brain. Does it hold up to scrutiny? And today's episode, and this is why I talked about you being a personal trainer, is He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. I always forget the Masters of the Universe part, because in my head it's just He-Man. But the universe is like in the first episode, they talk about the universe a lot. When Skeletor is putting together his gang, he's like, I got to get the worst scum of the entire universe.
And speaking of, we always give Batman has the best rogues gallery, right? Does He-Man have the worst?
By far. I mean, when your third build is Lockjaw, or is it Lockjaw or is it Metal Trapjaw? Trapjaw. And he's got like an arm that isn't there, and he just like plugs in. Like you can just see the accessories.
Well, I like when they're
toys.
gathering them, and they're like merman, and he's just fighting a random fish. And they say why he needs him, but then there's no more water the rest of the episode, or
Well, we watched episode 1.
Yes.
And it's confusing because what I like about He-Man, and we did G.I. Joe in a former episode. What I like about G.I. Joe as well is nowadays, if you start a cartoon like this, you'd have a 35 episode run explaining the origin of Merman. Like how he was originally a fisherman from like a water planet. He got struck by like black lightning, and now he's Merman. They just jump right into it, assuming that you have all the toys, you know all of the lore. We're just jumping in. We're ready to go. Because it starts with Skeletor. Like, we're just open on Skeletor, and he's like, yeah, well, you guys, he calls a council of bad guys. And they all sit around the table, and he's like, hey, guys, I have the key to defeating He-Man. And they're all like, you've said this many times before.
Which is the best part, too. Because usually, the leader, they go, oh, that's a great plan. But they're like, oh, this again? Like, this is the first episode. Like,
Exactly. We're the first episode in, and every's already got, like, ennui. They're
dude,
like,
there's something else to do today. Like, this is...
Okay, but you go after He-Man every time. Now, if you don't know anything about He-Man, let's explain what it is. There's a guy named Prince Adam, who has a Prince Valiant cut and is in incredibly good shape. He's built as good as any other human being on the planet. He wears skin-tight tights and a shirt, and he is the only son of a benevolent dictatorship that, I guess it's a monarchy, right? In charge of the planet.
King Randor.
Yeah, King Randor, king of the planet Eternia, right? And he's a wimp. We establish it right away. He's a huge wimp.
But it's the Superman thing where he clearly looks exactly like the person he changes into a T.
More than Superman.
But his
ever
father,
did.
his mother can't identify him.
Literally all he does.
There's not even glasses to take off.
He takes his shirt off.
You're right.
And he puts a spray tan on. That's literally it.
And hairy underwear.
And weird hairy underwear.
And that's it.
So yeah, he's the exact same person. Like,
Cringer at least changes a little bit.
He puts on a mask at least.
Well, I mean, no, he turns the cat, Cringer, into...
he turns into Battle Cat. But Battle Cat gets a mask. He-Man is obviously just Prince Adam with a tan.
Right. And again, always the thing, like, trouble arises, I'm going to step out for a second. And then He-Man shows back up.
Well, the trouble arises, they're attacking the king and queen of Eternia. And was there a guy, did I hear this correctly? Is there a character named Man Ram?
Ram Man.
Ram Man.
Yes. You didn't have Ram Man as a kid?
Was it? No. Was that
Between me and Damien, we had them all. But yeah.
Damien is a friend of ours who could be called Ram Man in his regular life. But yeah, I gotta ask, do you think 1980s television cartoon writers knew what they were doing when they were like, this guy's Ram Man.
Yeah.
And he likes to ram stuff.
Sure.
It's a little...
I think if you watch the Toys That Made Us or whatever, those things, the documentaries, they hint a little bit about the tongue-in-cheek stuff they did when they named stuff. So
Well,
I'm pretty sure that's like
It's
out
like in
there,
the
like
50s when they worked the word boner into every Batman and Joker episode where it was like, oh no, Joker's big boner is causing a problem again. Like they knew, right? They
clearly.
Knew. Boner's a funny word, Kang. That's today's lesson. Boner is a funny word. Now, they attach Skeletor. Here's the plan.
Well, back to the He-Man.
Yeah.
Did you have the toys? What did the effect, like all that stuff? Were you even?
My brother had Skeletor.
Okay.
And I'm sure that I had He-Man. My parents set up from an early time that he was bad and I was good, right? So we had Skeletor and He-Man. I know that Battle Cat was in our family.
Right.
I don't know. I think nobody.
So no Castle Grayskull, no the huge level. Okay, so it wasn't. I just want to know what your toy level was.
There might have been a Man of Arms somewhere. Okay, but we were more a GI Joe family at that time than anything. But there was a random He-Man mixed in. I think occasionally I would bring He-Man into a GI Joe session as a Joe who's like obviously doing a lot of HGH.
To emasculate the other GI Joes.
He was his code name was Barry Bonds. He was like, no, I'm completely natural. It's just a lot of chicken breast and lifting, fellas. Well, you've talked about this always. I remember that was something you would always say in college, is because in college we had feminists in college. Feminism is a whole different thing now.
Right.
But one of the big things in college was feminists would talk about the unrealistic body ideal that Barbie gave them.
Right.
And I remember nodding my head like, oh, yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And then you would always say...
Well, first of all, any of the 80s, Arnold, Stallone, but then that's one thing, because they're supposed to be at least adult movies.
Right.
But then He-Man, everybody's jacked. Right. Everybody's ripped.
Even like Man-at-Arms is like an old man.
Yeah, and he's shredded.
He's shredded to absolute...
So you could say, maybe as a personal trainer, it might have slightly influenced...
Right.
Wanting to go that direction.
His waist to shoulder ratio.
Right, he was clearly using.
Oh yeah. He was,
I don't know what they use in Eternia, whatever growth hormone they're on, but that wasn't from chicken breast and push-ups.
They were doing good old-fashioned 1980s horse steroids, the kind that blew out Arnold's heart, all that beautiful stuff. Just ripped to shreds.
But again, it didn't just influence me. Clearly, your comedic stylings are after Orko.
Oh, yes. Orko and I have the same level of competency when we're on stage. Yeah, because we open with them in Eternia. Right. He's doing a magic show for, and this is the same thing with the Willow episode, where you're talking about a magician in a world where magic exists, but the magic that they're doing is like bad Vegas stage magic. So you're like, well, wait a second, is this sleight of hand or actual wizardry?
Well, and then too, Eva Lynn is the evil sorcerer side, but the only time they use her in the episode is to play tug and war. Yeah. When they use her at the end, you're like, well, nothing. Is that all she can really do? So
well,
I don't know.
Back in the 80s, that's what Right. I want to talk about Teela in a moment too, but let's just go over the episode real fast. Okay, we don't see this; it's off screen, but Skeletor has found a gem that, if you look into the gem, you get put into another dimension forever. So he lures He-Man out into to fight, and all of the good guys in Eternia. And then they go into the castle, and the only person there to stop them is Man-at-Arms, and he uses the crystal to put everybody in the other dimension. But He-Man's aware of this, right? Because they're out fighting. Teela is, the first time she fights anybody, she immediately gets bested and has to be saved by a man. Again, the sexual politics of this were not exactly progressive. He-Man shows up and beats him easily.
And humiliates him.
Teela, they cut to Teela, and literally she's like, exactly. And He-Man is like, I'm sorry, Teela, I have to go to a posing party at a rich man's house in Miami.
Right.
But yeah, Teela definitely wants He-Man, but he's like, Teela, we have to get back. I suspect Skeletor lured us out for nefarious purposes. Well, if you suspect that, He-Man, you should have stayed in there to fight Skeletor.
Or just don't bring your entire guards with you, that you leave the place completely to chase after one.
You know, but I honestly think maybe they write it that the characters act like they would if you played with the toys. Because
that's a great point.
The battle tactics of a 6-year-old, where it's like, oh yeah, bad guys are here.
They're not referencing like a battle from like 14th century,
oh, this is the same technique that the War of the Roses. It was. So He-Man comes back. They're in the mirror dimension. the wizardess. Who's the lady from Castle Grayskull? What's her name?
Oh my
bird
gosh.
lady.
Yes, the sorceress, but she does have a name, and it's escaping me at the moment.
Look pretty hot.
Yeah, she's. I mean,
for a bird lady.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Well, they all are.
By the way, not to offend bird ladies who might be watching, and I don't mean ladies who are like kind of winnowy and like have chicken necks. I mean like actual bird people. We apologize for that, but pretty hot for a bird lady. She gets trapped in the thing too. Right. So He-Man is like, we got to go to Castle Grayskull, find it. So that's the only place I can communicate with the bird lady. Right. So he goes to Castle Grayskull, and it's one of my favorite parts of the episode because he goes to the Castle Grayskull, and Bird Lady shows up and goes, Skeletor has a gem. If you look at it, you get put in this dimension. You have to destroy it. Got it? And He-Man goes, I understand. It's like the three things that she says, no context, no anything.
Nope.
He-Man's completely down with this. There's no like, wait, what do you mean?
Right, like this is how this works, really?
Right, what dimension? What are you talking about? Like it just immediately, I understand.
Hero for hire. Just tell him what to do, and he's
Right, he's ready to go.
Right. Not a thinker.
Not a thinker. He's,
not a thinker.
He-Man is a doer.
Right.
So immediately, Skeletor shows up with the cast of characters that He-Man defeats.
By the way, another skill, the guy, the Triclops guy,
Triclops,
he can see behind things. So shouldn't he look through the door to see if He-Man's there to be like they just show up and they're like, thank God nobody's here.
Right.
Like,
we've gotten rid of all the people. We've put 4 people in the other dimension. That's all the defenses Castle Grayskull has. He-Man is waiting for them.
Yeah.
And immediately, like without even trying, defeats everyone. Right.
Comically so, yes.
Comically so. And he does the thing that, if I could just give some advice to any of the cartoon characters out there, if you have a chance to murder one of your enemies, murder your enemy. Do not throw him into a moat and go, well, he threw Merman into a moat.
Yeah.
Like that's like throwing you into a pile
remember,
of
they had another 130 episodes to cover, so it's a...
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like if you try to murder him at least,
right?
Because I think that as a kid,
he threw him pretty far. You think that would probably at least maybe
but he threw him
a sprained ankle, something.
Yeah, something would hurt him. And then he throws Beastman onto like a ledge.
Right, it's like hanging there.
Yeah. So during the fight with Skeletor, the gem that he has to crush falls into a open crack in the earth, right? And by the way, Eternia. It reminds me of like people fighting over like certain aspects of the Middle East where you're like, why is everybody fighting over? It's desert, right?
Right.
By the way, you should probably cut that. That's probably Eternia's.
Right. If you rule Eternia, we have 8 people underneath you.
There's 8 people that lives underneath you.
Right.
The rest are robots. And the landscape is like pure demon hellscape.
I don't remember the rest of it. Was there a natural resource there that I'm missing?
No natural resources. It's just like purple weird vines and like a desolate death planet that they're all fighting over. But it falls into a ravine, and He-Man's like, oh, I got to get that. So he gets in between the 2 parts of the ravine. Now he uses his legs, which as a trainer, that's more stronger than your arms. He pushes the earth apart. Mm-hmm. This is very strong. Like,
yes.
You're a pretty strong guy. Like if you were like, oh, I got to open up a rift in the earth, give me a second, I would be very impressed.
But even if, let's say, he's doing that, are the bad guys going to watch him struggle with it instead of maybe like that's the time you go for him when he's distracted or doing something else?
Yeah,
or,
I think.
I knew they thought that I guess once he got the diamond, it would take care of him. But.
Right. Well, I think they also thought like without the diamond, He-Man could easily. I mean, look at him. He's opening a rift on the earth. He could easily beat me up. Right. So he gets down and he crushes the thing.
Right.
There's like a moment of like, oh, is He-Man going to go?
The crushing part is great because the noises he's making, and then they have him like increasing in size and decreasing in size as he's like crushing it. It is very emasculating. I think if you think you're a skinny 8-year-old watching that, going, all right,
I guess when puberty happens, I'll look like that.
Right.
And by the way, I didn't.
No.
Yeah. No. I went for the page boy haircut, but it did not work for me. So he crushes it, and the whole place is saved.
Everybody shows back up, man.
Couple of observations about the end of the episode. Because did you stick around for the
lesson or
the lesson?
Yeah.
Now, here's what I love about the lesson.
Okay.
Because He-Man goes, the lesson that he got from this isn't like, don't entrap your friends in other dimensions. Right. He goes, Skeletor tried to take a shortcut. And what you need to know in life is do it the hard way. He-Man gets his power from a sword that was given to him by a random wizardess who's a bird lady. And all of his power comes from him going, by the power of Grayskull, I have the power. He's literally taking a shortcut.
Right.
Like what?
And also that lesson,
did he do?
That lesson isn't for us. That lesson's for Skeletor. Yeah. So next time, maybe he puts a little more time into the planning and all this. The lesson's really not for.
Oh yeah, that's a good thought. Like if you want to defeat me, Skeletor.
Right. This is clearly what you did wrong last time.
Skeletor, like, oh yeah.
Right. It's nothing we did do. The mistakes were made weren't on the good guy's side.
But honestly, my takeaway is like, if I'm to believe that He-Man worked for this, I want to see him work for it. Don't just jump right in. Show me Prince Adam.
A Rocky montage scene.
I want a Rocky montage. Okay. I want him. Well, it's the '80s, so I want him doing Nautilus. I want him to do like a Nautilus circuit. Yeah, he's on a ski
doing the
machine.
pole worker. He's like,
he's got a Bowflex. Yeah, he's taking all the laundry off his Bowflex to actually start working on the Bowflex. The other thing I loved about it was the music, because
awesome.
They used the He-Man song has like a group of people going He-Man
every time He-Man shows up. Every time. Do you notice that? Like it's timed exactly when he shows up.
They use it as a stinger, where when he's doing like extra work or something, where he's like, "I understand, He-Man." It's just great. I think all of us need like if you were to like walk into work and like a chorus of people went, "Bill Ridgway." Like, wouldn't that make you feel good?
Yeah.
Like, if I show up...
Well, at least I knew I was about to do something pretty important, for a little while,
It's you paying your bills. There's a check to the electric company. Bill Ridgway. What'd you think, Bill? What's your declaration on this?
This is a tough one, because, again, it had a big influence on me, and I love the toy line.
Right. I
love the series as a kid. Does it hold up? Not really, but did I enjoy the hell out of watching those 22 minutes? Yes, I did.
Agree 100%.
Okay.
I loved it. When the He-Man is enough to make me a happy person. In fact, if I should give you one lesson at the end of this, everybody. Number one, just taking your shirt off and putting on a spray tan is not enough to fool everybody. But number two, have a chorus of men follow you around and say your name whenever you do something kind of cool, and you'll feel better about yourself, and that's one to grow on. Wait, that wasn't.
Wait, that's not.
That's NBC, right?
I don't know.
The more you know. The more you know. Is that it?
But they all had lessons. No, wait.
You know why they all had lessons? It was like for them to skirt around to all the rules.
Knowing is half the battle.
Knowing is half. Thank you. Knowing is half the battle. That was the one. Okay.
Wait. Do what again?
Knowing is half the battle.
Knowing is half the battle.
Except. It's not G.I. Joe.
Yeah, it's not G.I. Joe. But that, I think this one's a definite.
But yeah, they did use it to get around the stuff. Like this, even with He-Man, they thought it was almost too violent.
Well,
because he was the first one that really like hit people and did stuff. Now he did a lot more. They said throwing people away and like chucking people. But it was still like. But what else was he supposed to do? He's not going to outthink anybody.
That was the best part, though, is when the Castle Grayskull went down and he ran out and just like punched Beastman and immediately defeated him.
No, he picked him up like this and like pulled him in, and Beastman was like, oh, he just swung him.
It was great. Yeah. I was happy that it existed.
Yes.
And
it got all the feels I wanted, the nostalgia feels I wanted.
All right, guys. I forgot. I have to outro Jim. All right, so that's 2 yeses from me and Bill. And by the way, didn't we have a cliffhanger from last week?
Cliffhanger. I did not do my homework.
I didn't do my homework either. So we'll push the cliffhanger for another time. So let's try that again. All right, so that's 2 yeses from me and Bill. Go check out He-Man and the magical mystery box of laser gems.
And Super Jack Dudes.
Super Jack Dudes. That's 2 yeses from me and Bill on Super Jack Dude. If you're a Super Jack Dude, please leave a comment in the section below. So join us next week when we do another episode of Nerdstalgia. All right, wait, do we want to do like a comment thing? All right.
Subscribe.
Hey everybody, if you enjoyed this episode, you know what to do. I need you to do 500 push-ups, shoot yourself full of horse steroids, do 1,000 chin-ups, create an account, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the comment button. You can do it. Hit the little bell. You have the strength. Make your fingers strong like He-Man and do what I ask you, because that is the power of Grayskull.